Arthur Douglas Wilson. Art is a World War II veteran. He is also just a favorite human being of so many of us who know him.
I went in the Navy in August of 1942, and I served 3 years, no, not quite 3, it was 2 years and a half in the South Pacific, and I got discharged in December 1945.
Tell me, what was the scariest day that you faced in that battle?
It was one time when we went up this river in Tarakan, Borneo. They were going to bombard the oil fields that the Japanese had. So when we were up there, we got there just at daybreak, and there was a destroyer on the other side of us, and they saw something, and they fired right up over our ship, where it was right in the muzzle. And I'll tell you, that was the first time in my life I was ever scared like that. I didn't know what happened.
Wow. Tell us, what was the best day of the battle?
The best day. Gosh, I don't see.
It's hard to find a good one, huh?
It's very, very hard to find it. I think the best one was the day I left to come back to the States.
I was expecting you to say that, actually.
Yeah. One happy day I had was in Havana, Cuba. But that wasn't doing a war effort, no.
That was when you were having fun afterwards, right?
Having fun, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. What was really fun for me was when we left Panama heading for Australia, and we island hopped all the way down. And by doing that, I was able to see some of the most beautiful scenery I'd ever seen. One of the most beautiful was in Bora Bora, where the harbor was big and the water was so pure and the bottom was white sand. And one time when we were at one of the little docks, they had a rowboat tied up there, and when I first looked at it with that white sandy bottom, that boat looked like it was up in the air, like it wasn't even sitting on anything. That water was so beautiful. And with all the palm trees around, with that beautiful water, it was very, very picturesque. That was one of the highlights. I really enjoyed that. The other one was when I was able to go to Australia and see how life was down there. And one time in Sydney, a buddy of mine and I, we were in the zoo. And so we were walking around looking at the animals, and there was 2 ladies and a young lady. And they were all sitting at a table, they were having a picnic lunch. So one of them called us over and says, "Would you boys like to join us in having a cup of tea?" So we said, fine. So they said, "Well, would you like some cream in your tea?" And we said, "No, we don't use cream." Says, "Well, would you like some sugar?" And we said, "No, we just take our tea just black the way it is." And that lady said, I don't understand you Yanks, how you can even stand tea without cream and sugar."
The second part of this video will be about Art's life, his raising his family after the war, his pleasure in dancing, and other contributions that he has made to the community by just being a man of integrity. You will see him with several dance partners here, and you will note that he has a great capacity to not get in front of the camera too much, not even when we want him to. I want to thank his son, Nathan, for contributing to getting the video for the dancing.
This picture is me and my oldest son. I think at that time he had just got out of high school. This one is right after I got married in 1973. It was my second marriage. And this was when my late wife and I had gone east on Highway 299 when the red buds were blooming. And that was the first time I'd ever heard of that, and I was fortunate to see it because it was just beautiful. This picture here is me and my brother, and that was taken in 1925. And I'm the short one of the two. And we all wore bib overalls back then.
1925?
1925.
Oh, you were just little kids.
Yeah. This is my 4th grade. And I don't know if I could pick myself. I'm in the second row from the bottom. I'm the third one from the left.
I noticed looking at that picture that you're hiding a little bit behind a little girl there. You were shy.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, from that small girl. Yeah. Yeah, I was... This one is my swimming pool when I lived in San Diego, and that's my 3 children. You can tell by the size of them there. There's 1, 2, 3, yeah. I was fortunate enough to have a nice swimming pool when I lived in San Diego. And this is me and my oldest son, and then on my leg is my middle son. That's Chuck and Wayne. And this picture here is my oldest and my middle one when they were playing, and that was my middle one there had a Superman cape on. And they were cute kids back then. This is a garage that I was in the process of building, and I made a push car for the kids, and this is my oldest son sitting on the top of it. But later on I did finish the garage. So I know a lot of them, you see, they make about that far and they never finish them, but I finished mine. I had a little 38 Ford pickup that I built up, and with a nice engine. I had power brakes and power steering on it, and my oldest brother took it down to Mexico and had it all upholstered in red and black vinyl. It was really had a beautiful interior. And here's a picture of the little truck when I got it all finished. And this is my little truck later on when I had it repainted. And this is after I'd moved up here from San Diego. This picture is from 1938 when I was growing up in Oceanside, California. And I was really out on the town there. I had my suit on. That was 1938, so I was a sophomore in high school. This here is a birthday party that I had gone to when we were kids, but unfortunately I looked to one side and I'm right behind one of the girls and you can't see me. I'm in the front row there, and I'm in the second one from the left with that one of those caps on, looking up toward the top bunch. This picture here was 1927.
And that's kind of amazing because in two of those pictures you're hiding behind the girls, and you'd never know it today with all your dancing and all your lady friends that you ever ducked behind a girl during a picture.
Yeah, I was just, no matter where I went, I was always around a bunch of girls. That's what Linda always accused me of that. But I'd only do it if I had a chance. See, this is my 5th grade class. Third row from the bottom. In this picture here, I'm in the second row,
You show up good in that one. You're easy to find because all the girls are dressed in light colors and then there's you. Amazing.
Yeah.
That picture is particularly cute because now you've matured enough that you're not ducking behind any girls. How old were you when that picture was taken?
Well, it was 1933, so I was 12, I think.
12. Already now you're getting confident.
Took the family on a vacation trip up the coast. We went up as far as Ukiah, and we went up the coast, and we stopped at a little place called Albion, and they had a lake up there, and this is me and my middle son. We're on a rowboat out in the lake there. Let's see, there's no date on this. This must have been about 1957. And this is my second wife at our wedding reception. Believe it or not, that cake made it in there without falling over, as high as it was. And that's me and my late wife. That was about 1973. This is the first car that I had when I got out of the Navy. My car that I left, one of my brothers came home on leave and used my car and wrecked it, so I didn't have a car when I got home. So I bought this one here. It wasn't really much of a car. It was a 37 Nash, and I never cared for the car, but that's me and my first wife's young brother. That's me with a light colored pants on. This is when I lived in Scotia, and that is my middle son. This was in about 1973, I believe. After my late wife and I were married, I got to doing macrame for a hobby, and I made quite a few things, and this was one of my better ones here. This was had 2 redwood shelves in it, and I was really proud of that one. I gave it to one of my step-granddaughters.
I am going to take some pictures of the beautiful wooden things that you have made for me, so I can show these wonderful people just what you do. And I want all of you to know that Art has made these for many friends, a lot of which are ladies, and of course we're all dynamic members of Art's fan club. Many years ago, there were several of us that didn't know our right foot from our left, and Art took each one of us, one by one, out on the dance floor and taught us how to waltz. This is a dynamic guy. Who would do that? There's nobody that knows how to dance well that will go pick a bunch of dwarfy women that are just sitting endlessly in the corner wishing they could dance and take them one by one and teach them to dance. So if you're wondering why Art has such a big fan club of women, it's just because he's one of the nicest human beings we've ever met. This is a clock. It's shaped like a toilet seat. And Art made it. It's delightful. It's for the bathroom, of course. Another beautiful piece of work by Art. His handiwork is impeccable. And on the bottom, to me, I'm very honored. Art to Rebecca, 2015. Art made this really nice kitchen clock for me. There are a whole lot of friends that he did these wonderful pieces of artwork for. And you can believe me, I'm not the only lady who is a fan of Art Wilson.
When I got out of the Navy, jobs were hard to find back then. due to so many people being discharged, there was just an overflow of people looking for work. So the first job I had when I got out was driving a taxi cab, and that was the worst job I ever had. I hated it. Then I went to work. I quit that, and I had an offer at this grammar school in the town where I lived, being the maintenance man, taking care of the repairs at the school. And I liked that job, but it wasn't much of a high-paying job. And then I had the offer of a job. I was working on a crane, driving a crane truck for this contractor, and that was a good job. And I kept it for a couple of years, but they went out of business due to the lack of being able to buy any of their material at a decent price, and somebody owned a big granite pit and sand and rock and sand, and so he had his all that he on his property. Well, my boss had to buy all of his, so they couldn't make ends meet, so they went out of business. So I took my lunch and out of the work truck and got in my car and was going to drive home. So I stopped at this friend of mine's, one of my classmates. He and a partner owned a garage. So I stopped by there and I thought, well, I'll just go and have lunch with them. So it ended up that I went to work for them the next day.
I'm going to take pictures from the video that your son took of dancing, and I'm going to put them all together, and I'm going to share a wonderful life with our audience. A wonderful life, yours. Now don't forget, this guy, Art Wilson, out there on the dance floor, is 94 years young. How many people do you know that are dancing after they're 90? Not very many. And this is the way that Art approaches his entire life, to enjoy all he can, while he can, on a wonderful level of human compassion, companionship, and caring. This is Art Wilson, and I thank him for letting me have the honor of doing this interview. Art's son Nathan contributed to the video of the dancing, and believe me, he was challenged, because as you will note through these dancing videos, Art has a way of getting away from where we can get him on the camera. But guess what? We got him anyway. And we got him anyway because we wanted all of you to know that this guy out there on the dance floor with all these different partners is 94 years young. Yes, you heard me right, 94. If there's anybody on that dance floor that's older than Art is, I honestly don't know who it is. This guy knows how to enjoy life, and more than that, he knows how to be an enjoyable, honest, caring humanitarian with integrity with all of the people he meets. This is my tribute, our tribute, to Arthur Douglas Wilson. Thank you. Thank you, Art, for letting me make this video. Thank you for being you. And most of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity of knowing you for so many years